Once after this, they spend their money on the consumption product. What they do, they spend on the needs and the products of industries. Development of industries producing capital goods, that is machine equipments, everything where we got from the industrialization. Through this policy, by liberalizing the policies, what happened? The foreign trade was increased. Hello everybody, I'm Divya, Assistant Professor from Department of Commerce and Management, lecturing Vidhyaashram First Grade College, MYSURU, the Temple of Excellence. It's my honor and privilege to welcome you all for the session 3 on your unit 2, that is Government and Legal Environment. To recap the previous class, so we have discussed on the topics of fiscal policy and your monetary policy in detail. Fiscal policy, the impact on the business, and the monetary, its impact on the business, we have discussed in the last class. So kindly go back to the previous video and check out the fiscal policy and monetary policy before attending the today's topic. Moving forward, the agenda for today's discussion: industrial policy, impact of industrial policy 1991, objective, advantages and the limitations of new industrial policy 1991. So why this 1991 is there? Earlier, this industrial policy was framed before independence. So when the independence happened, after that there was many revolution thing that has happened in the industrial sector. So when the liberalization, privatization and globalization concept introduced, when the new economic policies, when the policies reframed, restructured from time to time, there was a need for the industrial policy also to be altered, also to achieve the objective of in particular growth in the economy. It has been an important thing to reform the industrial policy as well. So they have reformed the new industrial policy 1991. Moving forward, so what is industrial policy? Policy, the word itself, I have told you, my dear students, policy is nothing but the rules, regulation, the organization, the government will develop for regulating the industries, to control the industries and to have a regulatory framework for an industries. Industrial policies will be set. If you hear the industries, that is BHEL, ICICI Bank, railways. What are these industries? Whether they are public sector or the private sector. Earlier, more predominantly industries were taken over by public sector. They were running public sectors. But now, to give emphasis and to give importance for private sector and to give a healthy competition to the public sector, industrial policies have been reframed in 1991. So let us discuss the meaning. Industrial policy refers to the rules, regulation, principles, policies and procedure laid down by whom? By the government for regulating, developing and controlling the industries which are undertaking in our country. So as I have told you, why it is important? Because if industries are set, more and more industries are coming up, the problem, the economic problem will eradicate, will completely go. They can provide the full employment opportunity, they can avail the foreign technologies. So your main objective with respect to your new industrial policy is to liberalize all the licensing and the rules and regulation that they laid down earlier for setting up the industries. Moving forward, what is the impact of new industrial policy 1991? So this is very important question for your examination and it is previous year asked question. So my dear students, why do you think industrial policy is required? Because earlier there was more emphasis on public sector. All the industries were run by the government. There was no privatization. So once the liberalization concept came, they started giving opportunity for private industries to set up. So in turn, they created a healthy competition for the public sector. Meanwhile, they had a lot of advantages. They got the global access market. They wanted to to start up their market and to reach the global and to reach at a global level. It has got many advantages. When you reach the global level, the standard will increase. They can create more opportunity. The foreign technologies, the foreign benefits, whatever is there, that we can avail. So with all these advantages, the new industrial policy was reframed. So let us see, meeting high income demand. So beyond certain limit, the people always, once of this, they spend their money on the consumption product. What they do, they spend on the needs and the products of industries. So what it creates high income demand. And the next is changing the structure of the economy. So earlier it was completely relying on the public sector. They wanted to give an opportunity for the private industries, for the newcomers in the market, so that they reap the market with the advantages. They can access the raw materials all across the world. They can use the foreign technologies. They can use the foreign market to sell their product, to increase the export and import. So for all these advantages, the new industrial policy was framed. So changing the structure of the economy was another impact, to change our economy, to change our way of dealing with the industries, to change that. New industrial policy 1991 were very important. Moving forward, raising income, as I have told you, the first important role of every industries. So as industry develop, they give more and more employment opportunity. When they have more and more employment opportunity, the amount, the salary will increase. When the salary is increased, the standard of living also increases. Ultimately, it will contribute towards the economy. Next is overcoming deterioration in terms of trade. Underdeveloped countries like India need industrialization to free themselves from the adverse effect of fluctuation in the price of primary product and deterioration their terms of trade. So earlier there was a lot of restrictions on the trade that was imposed by the government. It was not that easy to set up an industries. They have to get the license, and the license was not given by the government to set up the industries. So to have that overcome, to come with that, to give the freeness to the industries, our industrial policy become important. Moving forward, employment generation. So lot and lot employment opportunities were created by the industries. Next, bringing technological progress in our developed from the developed countries to bring the technological progress. Technology is very important. To bring the technological process, the industrial policy become very important. So the process of industrialization, what happens as we are started evolving ourselves, doing export and import. So what happened, the technology what foreign people have, we started adopting those technologies. There was a scope for research and development to meet their standards. So the development of industries producing capital goods, that is machine equipments, everything where we got from the industrialization. Strengthening the economy, to strengthen the economy, to make sure that we get an adequate resources all across the world, and to have a customer all across the world, industrialization becomes essential. So all these are the impact on business that we can see with the help of new industrial policy 1991. Moving forward, what are the objectives behind the new industrial policy? As I have told you, to increase the export and import, to bring up the technology, to create an employment opportunity, to create market access, to create a healthy competition among public sectors. So all this became aim behind the new industrial policy 1991. So increase employment opportunity in the private sector, to give scope for the private sector. So as I have told you, so ICICI Bank, all this, Karnataka Bank, if you want to take an example, all those are the private sector banks. As I have told you, BHEL, it's a public undertaking. Railways, it's a public. So all the, if everything is under public, so there will be no scope for the privatization. So other people cannot create an opportunity. It will become difficult for an economy to run its country. To bring the balance of payment, promoting exports, as I have focused in this point, to improve the export and import, to link Indian economy with global economy. So to act global, to be a global, new industrial policy was the main target. So increase competition of the industries, ensure profitability in the public sector, encourage the entrepreneur. So to encourage the entrepreneur was the main objective behind the new industrial policy. Invite foreign capital for industrialization and boost the export, to attract and to make sure the foreign investment, FDI, foreign direct investment, to come to our country. This new industrial policy was the main key role. Rapid industrialization of the country, rapid development of infrastructure, road and electricity. So for all this purpose, for all this, to achieve all these objectives, the new industrial policy was framed. Moving forward, as we have advantages, we have disadvantages as well. So let us look into the advantages and disadvantages of the industrial policy. Increase in foreign trade. So through this policy, by liberalizing the policies, what happened? The foreign trade was increased. Upgrading the technology of the production. Earlier it was labor intensive technology. Now we are using capital intensive technology for our production. So from where all this we got? From the policy that we have, the rules and regulation the government has framed. From that they liberalized the policy. They make sure they encourage the private sector. They encourage the foreign companies to come and invest in our company. So for all this we had an advantage. So upgradation of the technology, increase in per capita income. What is this per capita income? Income of an individual. So employment opportunity creates, obviously the income level increases. Increasing factors of production. When it comes to factors of production, land, labor and capital organization. So 4 factors of production. So now men is an asset. So that asset also should be looked after very effectively. So we can access the asset, human resource from all across the countries. You know, earlier the Indians were very less, only few of the Indians that were there in the foreign countries account. But now we can see our Indians representing all the countries. So this is possible through the industrial policy. Free flow of capital, to have the foreign companies can invest here and our Indian company can invest. So all this is possible because of the new industrial policy. Financial stability. To have a financial stability was the main advantage we had. Moving forward, we has disadvantages as well. It increased crime. So crime is increased. So how it increased the crime? So there were lot of malpractice that has happened. They started deceiving the customer. They started taking up the money from the customer. So all is the increasing crime. Unsuitable and inferior foreign technology. Unsuitable technologies that came to our India. Increase in corruption. So money increased by bribing the people started. So dilution of public sector, unemployment, dominance of multinational firms. So MNCs, they started occupying all our places. So it increased pollution. At the same time, it damaged the society value and ethics, isn't it? So all these are what? All these are the disadvantage that we have from our industrial policy. Industrial sickness. Sickness is nothing but a situation of an industry where it is running poorly, where it couldn't earn much profit. It is going under loss within a year or more than a year. That is sickness, industrial sickness, because of large competition in the market. So there are more and more MNCs, transnational companies that is set. Obviously, it will affect the micro, small and medium enterprises. It will affect the small industries at a greater level. Social problems started. So if you would have imagined that other people are not coming to our country or our country people is not going to the other countries. Was the COVID was existed here? No, right? So that was the social problem that has been created. So So free movement of people from country to country, the culture, everything has been changed now. So it has created a lot of problems. So that is the disadvantage that we can see from the industrial policy. So let's recap today's class. So what is industrial policy? Policy is nothing but rules, regulation that has been set by the government to control, govern and to develop the industries. To develop the industries in a particular country, the policy is framed, rules and regulation is framed, and that is framed by the government, and that is called as industrial policy. So this industrial policy is changed, new industrial policy 1991. So why it is changed? Because to increase the export and import in the country and to create employment opportunity and to make sure the Indian market is access towards the global market. So what its impact on our business? So it created high demand on the production of goods and services. It created demand on goods and it helped in changing the structure of the economy. It helped in raising the income. Standard of living increased, overcoming the problems of trade. Then it also increased employment opportunity, generated lot employment opportunity. So it created what? It created a technological progress in our industries and it also strengthened the economy. So this is the impact of industrial policy on our business. Moving forward, we have discussed the objective. So what is the reason behind developing a new industrial policy and what are the reasons whether the government has achieved it? Yes, so these are the important objectives that is there. So moving forward, we have also discussed the advantages, what advantages it gave for our business and what are the disadvantages we had. So far we have discussed. So that's it, my dear students. Hope the session was interesting and fruitful. Smile is the biggest jewel you can wear, people. Keep smiling. Thank you.